Thank you for joining us on this episode of SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast. I am Darlene Mahoney, your podcast host. If you enjoy our monthly Senior Focus podcast, we can be downloaded and followed most anywhere you enjoy your podcasts, such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and so many more. We thank our sponsor, SeniorLivingGuide.com, who provides our online users with a one-stop solution to help seniors and their caregivers find and connect with the best next step in senior living or home health, all in one easy-to-navigate website. It's easy peasy. And we are in the studio today with our sponsors, Parrish Healthcare. And today our guests are Dr. Pam Tronetti and Janet Rooks. Dr. Tronetti is an osteopathic physician who specializes in geriatrics. Janet Rooks is a social worker and a dementia care specialist. They work together at the Parrish Senior Consultation Center, where they focus on the care of patients with dementia. Dr. Tronetti is the Director of Aging Services at Parrish, and Janet Rooks coordinates Parrish Senior Solutions, which provides fabulous education, resources, and support for seniors and caregivers. And we're going to talk today about a subject that is so important because sometimes I think and talk about this to myself all the time, and I know most people do. And we're going to get some answers, hopefully. Why am I so tired?
Well, in other words, you get up and go as got up and went.
Exactly. So many people, especially seniors, report that they're tired, they're worn out, they have no energy, there's no stamina. So what gives?
Wow. And especially this past year with COVID, I have people who are saying, I feel like I aged 5 years in the last year, and I feel weak and I feel tired. Now, what some people do is they come in and say, I am tired. My neighbor had this symptom and they had such and such. So therefore I must have that same problem. Don't fall in that trap of if I have this one symptom, I have this one disease.
That's with everything, right?
It is with everything. You know, I know if somebody says I fell out of a tree and now my arm hurts, maybe you broke your arm, but there's a whole process. There might be 50 things that can cause symptoms or a combination of things. When you come to me with a problem, I'm going to listen to you, I'm going to examine you, I'm going to come up with what I call a differential diagnosis. What are the most common causes? What are some uncommon causes? What is a really rare cause? And they'll all be balanced, and we'll try to really get to the bottom of this, because there are causes for being tired.
Right.
But you know, they're watching TV shows, and nothing wrong with our doctor TV shows. But you know, people be on there and they present one symptom, an unusual symptom to the doctors, and they'll say, well, here's a brilliant diagnosis. So they think, okay, I have that. And back to that one thing, and it's a rare disease. And it's just sensationalized. And so they think in a few moments, they have that, I've got it, and think, oh, God, my neighbor has that symptom. I have that same symptom. I think I have it.
It's like getting on Google.
Oh, yeah.
Never Google it.
Dr. Google.
You'll have like the bubonic plague, and now I don't want to say plague anymore just because of coronavirus, because that used to be such a far off thing. But yeah, exactly.
You know, so it's there that, you know, and those are rare diseases that they're seeing on TV. You know, it may be common in that region or whatever, but you know, you can't it's rare to diagnose a disease in that short period of time.
Yes, it's almost impossible. But one of my favorite examples, if you'll indulge me for just a minute, is one of these doctor shows, and this young man came up and said, I have diarrhea, and the doctor looked at him and said, well, stop chewing that gum, because sugar-free gum can cause diarrhea. So stop chewing it and you'll be better. And of course, it was like a miracle. His diarrhea went away, when actually there's like dozens of causes of diarrhea. Now,
oh my goodness, holy cow, yes.
Yeah, it is true that there are some folks who have chronic constipation that we will say, go out and buy yourself a box of sugar-free chocolates, like Russell Stover's or Whitman's. Take a couple of those every day, because if you read the package, it says may cause diarrhea. And that's why. It's the sorbitol in those chocolates.
Oh. Well, that's a little tidbit of info.
Isn't that a lovely reason to eat a couple of chocolates every day, sugar-free or otherwise?
Exactly. So how do you sort all of this out if there's so many causes of fatigue?
Over the years, I've learned to break it down.
Okay.
I have my 3 kinds of tired. There's sleepy tired, where the person is actually sleeping. They are falling asleep between breakfast and lunch and dinner.
Can't keep their eyes open.
Exactly. There is worn out tired, where they do a little bit and they have to sit down. They get tired. They do a little bit more and they have to rest. And then there's just that blah tired, like, you know what? I don't feel like doing anything. I don't want to do anything.
I just want to Netflix, sit in the chair, recliner.
Sounds good.
Chill.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it's interfering with your life, we all need those down days.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and to us, we're in Florida. Up north, January was our, I'm going to sit and watch Law and Order reruns. In Florida, it's July. I'm going to sit inside and watch Law and Order reruns. If they ever make the Rocky Godfather channel, that's where I'll be.
Oh my goodness.
I'll just watch that 24/7.
Marathons.
Yeah.
Yes, and eat brownies.
So it's really
Or
important.
popcorn.
When people come in, we find out, you know, what's your normal day? What time do you get up? What do you do? And we'll go through, you know, what do you do in the course of a day? You know, are you falling asleep after you eat breakfast? You know, what time do you get up? Are you busy between breakfast and lunch? Are you busy, you know, after you eat lunch, what happens? Between lunch and dinner, what do you do? And, you know, what are these times that you're eating?
Now, if you take a nap, we have a lot of folks who just say, this is my habit. I take a nap. Okay, that means you purposefully go lay down and take a nap, and you've been doing it for 20 years. That's fine. It's the people who are just falling asleep in front of the TV at the dinner table that you kind of worry about.
Right. So basically, I'm so tired, you really have to identify that, because I've never actually thought about that before. The I'm so tired has actual different types of tired. I never really thought about that till, you know, just now. So let's start with, you know, the sleepy tired. That person honestly just feels sleepy and is just kind of fallen asleep during the day.
And you might ask, like, is sleeping during the day ever normal? And yes, as people get older, most of our patients in their 90s will sleep 12 to 15 hours a day. We still look for a medical cause, because maybe they have another medical problem plus the age.
Right.
And also, Janet, you'll see the folks who have the moderate to severe dementia.
Yeah, those folks with the moderate to severe, you know, their brain waves will slow down. So they may sleep 15 plus hours a day. And it's not uncommon, especially with nothing going on. You know, they may sleep during the day, or they'll sleep all night, and then they're sleeping longer during the day. Those are the individuals that we try to, you know, do something to stimulate them or encourage the family so that they're not getting their days and nights mixed up, because the caregivers need their rest too. You know, we may recommend daycare or, you know, something that will have the families do something to keep them kind of stimulated some during the day, because those caregivers need their rest. In the assisted living facilities, they work in shifts, so that new, fresh caregivers are coming in. You know, family members say, well, they're over-medicated. No, they're not. The brain's just slowing down, and it's the effect of the disease.
Yeah, and that's something that I noticed definitely with my dad, and I didn't know if it was, I actually thought maybe it was more depression, and I didn't know, and maybe it could have been a combination. I have, you know, clearly have no idea, but that he did definitely start sleeping more and was able to just, you know, fall asleep in a, you know, the lounge chair. Although he could, you know, his whole life he could fall asleep anywhere where he was bored. But yeah, so I think that that's something that wasn't something I ever thought about was being an effect of the dementia, but that's a good thing to notate. Yeah.
But again, we look at those other medical problems. And Janet, I know you work a lot with our number one worry.
Yeah, you know, there's sleep apnea. You know, and that's where that the individuals are not getting enough oxygen to their brain, and you know, it's where that there's not enough oxygen and they're not breathing. So you know, we'll do a sleep study, but our dementia patients, they're not going to do good with the CPAP. And so you know, it may be that you explore the possibility of oxygen at night, but sometimes they don't even want that. You know, they don't want to deal with the oxygen. So there's other recommendations that may be, you know, I've heard of people sleep in the recliner, so they're sitting up and this sort of thing. So, you know, there's other things that may be done. I don't want to get into a whole lot of that, but, you know, sleep apnea is very common.
And I feel very personally about this because I have sleep apnea, and I don't look like the typical sleep apnea patient. Usually they talk about somebody with a very large neck, like a big guy with a big neck. And when I even venture to say maybe you have sleep apnea, a lot of people will say, but I sleep fine. Well, you don't realize is that you're sleeping, your airway closes up, your neck kind of collapses on itself, blocks off your airway. Your body doesn't want to have no oxygen, so it wakes you up just below that, being awake, being asleep. You take a breath, and then you go back down, but you never get the restful stage 3 and 4. And my symptoms were every morning I got up with a headache, and every morning I told my husband, I can't do this job anymore. I'm too tired. And they tested, I'm on my CPAP, and wake up, no headache, a lot more energy. But we've known people who have fallen asleep driving at a stoplight, slept during meetings, and again, they don't make that connection. And people who've literally come into our office saying, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and they weren't. They had sleep apnea.
Yeah. Because usually you think sleep apnea, most people, in fact, I've always thought it was just someone that was a very loud, heavy snorer.
Well, that's true too.
It is. It can be a sign.
Yeah.
So, but not necessarily.
Correct.
Wow, that is news.
You know, and people say, well, I don't want that Darth Vader type mask on.
Right.
There are about 100 different types of devices to help with that. And we've got a great sleep lab group at Parrish Healthcare, and they can actually try different types of devices to help you, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I just
really
have a nasal one that
Yeah.
goes over my nose,
Yeah.
but then I have to have a chin strap to close my mouth.
Yeah.
Sure.
It works out well. There's somebody who has one that they designed into the face hugger from Aliens, which is totally cool. But
Yeah.
well, we won't go there.
Yeah,
we won't get into
it's-
science fiction right now.
It's pretty cool what they can do,
Right.
And it, you know, and it saved
So
lives.
they've come a long way.
Yeah,
Definitely. There's probably 50 different options now,
Yeah.
various brands and configurations.
Nice.
Yeah.
But Janet's right. A lot of our patients with dementia, there is no way that they could learn to sleep with a CPAP.
Right.
There are other folks that, because of loss of muscle mass or chronic lung disease, they need a little oxygen overnight. Their oxygen is dropping. It should never be below 90, and it's dropping in the 80s, 70s. All they need to do is wear a little oxygen in their nose. But we have to do the home overnight sleep test with the little pulse oximeter like you get. They clip it on your finger. You sleep with it. You take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on. They measure the readings of the oxygen. And if you have that problem, and again, folks will say, Mom or Dad, they seem sharper. They have more energy. They're waking up feeling good because they have enough oxygen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good to notate. Now, does that affect, and I'm kind of going off a little bit beyond that.
Oh, that's never happened before.
I know, right? If you have sundowners, how do you do, if you have sundowners, can you have sleep apnea at the same time or no? Do you know?
Well, sundowning is mostly like an anxiety, an upset, a change
Okay.
in behavior, and it's usually late afternoon
Okay.
or early evening.
Okay, so that wouldn't be.
No.
Okay. All right. Just a thought.
That's
you,
okay.
you can have it, but it's totally different.
Totally different. Okay. So what about medications? I know people are on a lot of medications that can definitely make you feel sleepy, and you may not even really realize it. So is that a factor?
You know, we always say that the top 3 causes of feeling tired and sleepy are medications, number 2, medications, number 3, medications. Absolutely, we look at that.
Yeah.
Because there are anxiety medicines, sleep aids, but also some blood pressure medicines, some bladder control medicines. There's lots of things that contribute to feeling sleepy and tired. And the over-the-counter sleep aids, they can cause it.
And let's not forget alcohol.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know we've talked about the alcohol in the past, especially with seniors.
You know, even a glass of wine with dinner, and you know, it can have an effect of that hangover effect. And I know we've talked about this. 1 glass of wine or one alcoholic beverage in a senior is equivalent to 3. So that hangover effect, the lack of motor skills, this sort of thing, and then they have that hangover effect later on. It may make them sleepy, so they go to sleep, but then it starts wearing off, and or they have to get up and that little tromp to the bathroom. They're unsteady on their feet, and so then they've got that little hangover effect during the night.
Right.
And it's not safe.
Right.
So,
And you mentioned something that, a shot of a hard liquor like whiskey equals a glass of wine equals a bottle of beer. So people say, but I don't drink any alcohol. I just have wine. Well, it's alcohol.
alcohol's alcohol.
Yes.
And, so,
Even if it's low.
yeah.
Yeah. So what about like the worn out tired? I mean, I feel like I can relate to that. So the person that does a little bit, and then they just kind of have to sit down. What about that?
Well, first I want to know, why do you need to sit down? Is it that your legs feel weak? Is it you feel short of breath? Is it that your back hurts? Why do you have to sit down? And of course, the big thing is, are you getting short of breath? You vacuum and you get short of breath. You make the bed and you get short of breath. This is a big red flag for us.
And, we're going through this pandemic, so a lot of the gyms are closed, and so a lot of people are out of shape.
Absolutely.
Even those that were in shape before, they're now out of shape. They used to be walking 5Ks. They used to be, and they use the word used to. And we were talking before we started this about the fact of a lot of our seniors that were going out before and walking in their neighborhoods and this sort of thing. They're not doing that now because they've been told to stay home. And and it's just, they're not doing it now.
And once you stop, it's hard to get back in that routine. So even if you feel like, maybe you've gotten your 2 vaccinations and you feel like maybe it's a little bit safer to kind of maybe go out or whatever the case may be, now you just don't have the energy to do it.
Yeah, and wear your mask. I mean, even if you've been vaccinated, wear your mask, because you're protecting yourself, but you're protecting other people. Just because you've been vaccinated doesn't mean that that you're totally protected.
Right.
So, your muscles have atrophied. It takes very little for that to happen. Start out slow, but build up. I usually tell my caregivers, if it's start out going from your front door to the end of the driveway. Your muscles are going to start getting sore, but my goodness, sore is good. And then, then start walking around, build it up. Don't start out with a marathon or a 5K because you're not going to do as good as you think you will.
No.
But your body needs that.
Yeah.
These muscles were made to use. But with anything, make sure you get doctor clearance before you start any type of exercise program. Don't start out here doing this stuff. Make sure that you get an okay from your physician.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't know, I don't know what your medical issues are. So make sure it's okay with your doctor, especially if you've had if you've had COVID, if you've got a medical condition. If you've had a medical condition and you've had COVID, make sure you get clearance from your physician before you start an exercise program.
Yeah.
By all means.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, absolutely. Anytime you do any kind of exercise program or any kind of diet, anything like that, definitely get with your physician and make sure that they give you the thumbs up on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because maybe you say, oh, I'm short of breath, but it's because I'm out of shape. But if you tell me you're short of breath, I'm going to be doing an EKG. I might do a chest x-ray. And then based on those findings, an echocardiogram, a stress test, pulmonary function test, which is where you breathe in and out of a machine. And it tells us, do you have asthma? Do you have emphysema? Because we can't take that chance. We have to take these symptoms seriously.
Yeah.
Right, right. So what about the people who just have shortness of breath? Is that basically...
If I could back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
You need to know your body.
Yeah.
Know what your body is doing and what you're doing to your body and how it reacts. So if it's exercise and how your body responds to the exercise, if it's not exercising, sitting in a chair, if you sit in that recliner for even a couple, 2 or 3 hours, your back starts hurting because recliners are not made to sit in there for long periods of time. So if you go to see your doctor and you're complaining of your back hurting, tell them why your back's hurting. I've been sitting in my recliner watching, what was that show the marathon of Star Wars and
That's a good one too. Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Wars,
If
aliens.
you've been aliens and this sort of thing, or Netflix, you've been watching all these TV
It's
shows.
so easy now.
It is so
to
easy.
get-
Law and Order.
Yes.
Yeah, Janet's hooked on Columbo.
I love Columbo. And one more question. Mrs. Columbo. I have gotten addicted to Columbo again.
Oh my
I found
goodness.
it. But it's like, okay, yeah. Because if you get sucked into that stuff, time goes by really quick.
super quick.
Super quick.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, and it takes very little to, but know your body, know what you're doing to it, good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
So that when you go in and you complain, well, this hurts a little bit. Well, why is it hurting? Because
What
if not,
activities
you're going
are you doing when this is occurring?
Exactly.
What are you doing or what are you not doing?
Right.
Because, you're going to end up with a bunch of tests to figure out, and it may be as simple as you're not doing anything, you're not taking deep breaths, you're not doing this, that, and the other, and everything's going to come back negative. Or you're going to end up with a bunch of tests and something is happening. So, know what you're doing or not doing, know your body.
Yeah, that's definitely important. And to mention that when you're talking to your doctor and
So,
not generalize it.
I just needed to say that.
No, yeah, you're
And then
good.
shortness of breath, you can.
Yeah. So what-
Dr.
yes.
Pam, what's some causes of shortness of breath?
Well, cardiac disease, congestive heart failure, asthma, emphysema, anemia. You don't think about that.
No,
What do red blood cells do? They carry oxygen.
they sure do.
So I've had folks who said, I'm short of breath when I walk up a flight of steps, and we do blood work. And they're like, why are you doing blood work? Find out they're anemic. And then it's, well, why are you anemic? Is it B12 deficiency? Is it iron deficiency? Are you having a GI bleed? Is it a genetic problem? So, and you can have more than one thing wrong at the same time.
Exactly.
You can always have more than one thing wrong at the same time. So before we go to break, so let's talk a little bit about the blah tired, and then we'll kind of move on to something different. So a blah tired, I guess that's when you just kind of feel blah. Is that the best way to describe it?
And blah is one of the biggest subjects. The more vague the symptom, the more causes there are.
Right.
And combinations of those. And we're all feeling a little bit blah.
I refer to that as my get up and go, got up and went.
Right.
And I just don't feel good.
Yeah.
Can't put my finger on it, but
Yeah.
I just don't feel good.
And some of that can be weather related. That can just be a time in your life where you just don't have a lot going on, or really, honestly, anything to look forward to. I think that can definitely affect.
Or you haven't eaten. You haven't fed your body. You haven't fed your brain. You've been eating too many carbs, too much sugar, too much of this, that, and the other. And, and you just got to that,
And you're eating things that your body is spending more energy processing all the chemicals than it is getting the nutrition out of it.
Yeah. Nutrition, and from my own experience, I can tell a difference. If I'm eating healthy, I have a lot more energy, where I tend to sometimes go, if there's cookies in the house, I will eat the cookies. I'm like a cookie monster.
You're
But if
normal.
it's so bad. And then if I eat them, because I want to eat them till they're gone so I don't have to eat them. There's a logic.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
flawed.
know who's,
It's fraud.
It's totally flawed, but it's there. And I notice that when I do that and I have all that sugar, I'm so tired. I feel blah. I don't want to move. I have no energy. I just literally, you could call me and say, hey, you want to go to Disney World or what? I'm like, nah, I'm good.
The less you do,
I feel like blah.
the less you do, the less you feel like doing.
Exactly.
The worse you eat, the worse you feel like eating.
And honestly, if I've really just been laying around a lot with just kind of being overly relaxed, I can just feel blah.
Bad.
Yeah.
Feel bad,
Yeah.
And it's just because I haven't exercised my brain or my body, I guess. But once I start doing it, make myself do it, because you have to make yourself, unless somebody's up there pushing you, I feel so much better. So it's just a matter of mind over matter, I guess.
It is.
Well, let's take a break, and we are going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of these things, including thyroid disease.
Healthcare, we believe in our community. We believe in keeping our community safe. We believe in the art of healing. We believe in healing patients, healing families, healing communities. We believe in the best and brightest working together for the common good. At Parrish Healthcare, our team focuses on you as an individual because every life is a work of art to us. Parrish Healthcare, where the art of healing comes to life. Visit parrishhealthcare.com/healthaware for a free health risk assessment.
Hey, Mom, how's the retirement home search coming?
Oh my gosh, I'm just so stressed out. I don't even know where to begin.
Well, why are you so stressed? What's the matter?
I don't know where to find anything. I just need everything in like one place and know what all the options are.
Does the idea of searching for senior housing seem overwhelming and you just aren't sure where to even begin? SeniorLivingGuide.com has great news for you. We offer a one-stop solution to take the stress out of your senior housing search. At SeniorLivingGuide.com, both our statewide Florida edition book and website are created to make your senior housing search very easy for you to navigate. We provide details on communities, including retirement, assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, and home health, allowing you to decide which best fits your needs and then connecting you directly with those communities. Visit us online at SeniorLivingGuide.com and start your search today and start de-stressing.
At Parrish Healthcare, we believe every life is poetry in motion, motivated by strength and determination. As your bone, muscle, and joint healthcare partners, we believe in blending the art of healing with the science of medicine to keep your body in motion. We believe in healing patients, healing families, and healing communities. For a free orthopedic health assessment, visit parrishhealthcare.com/orthoaware. Parrish Healthcare, where the art of healing comes to life.
Welcome back. So we were talking a little bit about, not a little bit, a lot about being tired. And we were talking before we went to break about blah tired. And I think that we want to kind of talk about that a little bit more because sometimes it's more than just food related. There's a lot more that can go along with blah tired. So let's touch on that before we get into the thyroid disease side.
Okay. And basically everything we've mentioned so far, anemia, sleep apnea, medications can make a person feel blah tired. Plus, some folks have said, well, my mom just seems tired. She doesn't feel like doing anything. Could it be depression? Is depression a cause of being tired? And then, every organ system in the body can have something go wrong with it that makes you feel tired.
Yeah.
And some people will just go to bed to escape. They will go, I'm just going to lay down. And then it becomes just a cycle. And, before you know it, they're spending a lot of time in bed and it's just, they're not sleeping. They're sort of in that little twilight and they're just escaping from reality. Because it just becomes a habit.
It's just a safe place.
A safe place.
And sometimes, again, they can't verbalize. It's just, I feel so tired. So, but we would never say if somebody comes in and says, I think my mom's doing this, and this, I think she has depression. Oh, here's a pill. No. Let's get ourselves a diagnosis and find out exactly what is causing this.
And then too, with some of those folks, they're not necessarily readily open to go talk to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, to figure out what might be making them feel, after all the medical has been ruled out or ruled in or whatever, then it continues to be a problem. Then it may be just trying to figure out making some lifestyle changes. And because they're not going to go talk to somebody to figure out why they're continuing to not want to get out of bed or to make lifestyle changes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And sometimes it is harder. Older people are more weary of talking to therapists and things like that. Do you find that sometimes can be the case?
It's not part of the lifestyle. The thought of paying somebody $60, $70, $80, $120 an hour,
right,
when that's what you used to make in a week. It's just unbelievable to some of our patients. It's often not covered by insurance or very limited. So, and there's antidepressants that are more for the anxiety, nervous people that kind of calms people down. And then there's others that are more activating. You're taking them in the morning and they seem to give that positive energy, that feel like yeah, I've got some get up and go, and I can harness this, and now I feel like doing a little more. And then again, the more you do, the more you feel like doing.
And then also, they're not going to talk about their quote-unquote secrets, the things that may be coming, boiling up, or this sort of thing, or the things that they have been there, because that's just not what they're going to do. So if the antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications just kind of helps them deal with life as it's going by, then it may be enough. And they'll deal with it when they're ready to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
But thyroid disease, by the way, you mentioned that. It's
Yes.
huge. It is huge as we get older. Very common to have an underactive thyroid.
So what are the effects of that?
Well, your thyroid sits like a little fat butterfly in your neck. And it's kind of the taskmaster of the whole body. It tells it works with your heart, it works with your energy level, it works with your mood. And if it's underactive, everything slows down. You're sluggish, you're tired, you're depressed, you have constipation, you have swelling in the legs, and you just don't feel right. And the opposite, the overactive thyroid, it's like everything is speeded up. So you have diarrhea and you always feel nervous and your heart is palpitating and you feel your blood pressure might go up and everything's just moving at light speed. And then you become exhausted from that. So thyroid lab work is always basic as part of our workup for feeling tired,
Is that
gaining
something
weight,
they start?
losing weight.
I was going to say, I always knew that was associated with weight gain and weight loss. And I always thought, if I ever get it, please let it at least be overactive. Please, dear God. But is that something that starts happening as you age? Is that something that's more, oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's
okay.
most common in women.
Of course. Stupid apple. I always just go back to even the apple and when things are more common with women.
And the hair falls out too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
I-
Skin gets dry.
I know.
mean, every part of the body is affected by the thyroid.
Yes. We did a podcast, Things Are Going to Change. We talked about all the things that happened, and that's a really good podcast, too. Yes. So the hair happens with the thyroid as well, or just would you?
Yeah,
age? Okay.
The hair can get thinner. It can get brittle.
Okay.
You lose the edges of your eyebrows.
Oh,
So,
interesting. Okay. And it can make you tired.
You know,
So that's a good workup to consider.
yeah, and it seems like we're working down the body.
we start with brain, thyroid.
Yeah, and so, let's talk about the hearts and the lungs. It can cause some fatigue if it's not working correctly.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you do to kind of look at that?
First, of course, you listen to the heart and the lungs. So is the heart beating too slow? Is it skipping beats? Is there a heart murmur, which is the sound of a heart valve not opening and closing properly? So the heart might be beating fine, but the pumping is inefficient. Maybe I'll listen to the lungs and I'll hear scar tissue, I'll hear wheezing. Very commonly, though, people just don't breathe deep enough, too. As we all sit up straight now and realize, our posture is terrible. You need to breathe down to the bottom of your lungs. So what would I do next? EKG, chest x-ray. Let's look at the heart and the lungs, especially, say, if you've been a smoker. If you've smoked what they call 30-pack years, which would be 1 pack of cigarettes a day for 30 years or 2 packs of cigarettes a day for 15 years, American Cancer Society says you actually need a CAT scan of your chest every couple of years. There's something called pulmonary fibrosis. The lungs aren't like empty balloons. They're like a sponge. And if you've ever pulled that hard sponge out from under the sink, that's fibrosis. It's hardening. So a hard sponge doesn't absorb water and hard lungs don't absorb air. So you can hear these things and then do further testing to find out, you've got a little pulmonary fibrosis and you're kind of depressed and your thyroid's a little underactive. Let's fix all these things and see if we can get you back on your feet. And your job is to eat right and keep active as much as possible.
So it can be a combination of different things.
Yeah.
It can be.
Yeah.
You know, and there's also the kidneys and the bladder. You know, I know that kidney disease causes fatigue, and, you know, because that's where the toxins built up.
Yep, that's why we tell people to drink a little more water, help those kidneys flush the toxins. But yeah, as the kidney disease gets worse, the people get tired. They get fatigued.
Yeah.
You
that
know,
makes
but you
sense.
can drink too much water.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. But that probably happens less than not enough. Do you think?
Generally speaking,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit more as well about something. Well, fibromyalgia, I know, is one that I've heard can really make you tired, and I could be wrong, but it seems to be a newer type of disease that's kind of come on the forefront in I don't know how many years, but I would say when I was growing up, I never heard of fibromyalgia, and then also arthritis, which is definitely quite common.
And some of that comes strictly from the pain. People in chronic pain just feel wrung out. The pain just exhausts you because every movement you make, you're trying to figure out, how can I move without the pain?
Okay, that makes sense. So do you tighten your muscles up more, do you think, when you're in pain to just kind of...
Yeah. Studies have shown that actually most of the pain of arthritis isn't the joint. It's the muscles around the joint. And what we'll often see is somebody will say, my knees don't hurt except when I walk. So what's the cure? I don't walk. So then you're sitting there for hours in your recliner, Janet. You don't move anything, and what happens to those muscles? They stiffen up, they tighten up. So when you do stand up, everything's in spasm, everything hurts more.
Yeah.
And they get inflamed.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what about nutrition? Nutritional, we always go back to nutrition. Nutrition is like the key to everything, and it's something that's so easily ignored because there's so many delicious, prepackaged, easy to get, yummy, fried, whatever. But really, our nutritional deficiency sometimes like a cause of fatigue that needs to be.
Yeah, if you can't read the ingredient, it's like there's so much processed food, but, you know, if you're eating an unhealthy diet, you're not getting the vitamins, the nutrients, the protein, or the fluids that your body needs. It's just like your automobile. If you don't put oil in it, if you don't put gas in it, it's not going to run. It's the same thing with your body. You know, I have chronic migraines.
And I can relate to that.
I mean, you know, and I have learned what I can eat and what I can't eat. If I eat certain foods, the headaches are terrible. So I have changed what I eat, how I eat it, and made a lot of lifestyle changes. And it has been a life-changing adventure for me. And I have done it for me.
Well, and you've talked about you have to know your body. So you know that if you eat a bunch of cupcakes, you're going to feel lousy, you're going to have a headache.
Absolutely.
For a lot of our patients with, say, Alzheimer's disease, they crave sweets, and yet there are families who will say, if they eat 2 donuts, I know that they're going to have anxiety and agitation and upset. The sugar seems to fuel that.
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's interesting. I had never heard that. That is very interesting.
But, you know, I talk to the caregivers to be in tune to what's going on. You know, my heart and stroke support group folks, I have them reading labels. And so they're empowered. You know, my pulmonary hypertension folks are reading labels. Same thing with the Parkinson's people. They are empowered. They have taken control or are trying to take control. Now, does that mean that they don't fall off the straight and narrow? Absolutely. Does it mean I don't sometimes fall off the straight and narrow? Absolutely. I mean, you know, I like my little sweets every now and then too, and it's okay. You know, we're not perfect, but you know, it's like, what's the payoff? Am I going to eat a little donut whole every now and then? Of course, but I'm not going to eat 5 or 6 of them or 2 donuts because I know that I may end up with a headache because the sugar is going to give me a headache.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I will tell you, I learned when my kids were younger, I can't pronounce what's on the back of like prepackaged snacks. even if it says granola bar or breakfast bar or nutrition bar, anything like that, it's very deceiving, where you think you're getting something really healthy, and then you flip it around and there's a word that's, 20 letters long. You can't pronounce it, and there's especially if there's multiple, and especially if they're at the top of that, the nutrition list, or the ingredient list. I apologize. It's, you really realize, I don't even know what this garbage is. Would I, if this were on the counter, would I buy this? Would you buy go, just like you said? Can't even pronounce it. No, because it's probably a bottle of gasoline. Who knows? You just don't even know what it is. So I think it's important, even on, looking at those labels.
The first 5, it's either the first 5 or the first 7 ingredients are the largest ingredients.
Yes.
So, when you read those labels, know what you're putting in your body. If it says all natural and you turn it over and there's a list of ingredients, it doesn't mean it,
But there's also, 20 different names for sugar. So it might say glucose, fructose, corn syrup.
Yes.
And it's all
sugar.
Right. And for a lot of our seniors, their thing is we're limiting salt because of high blood pressure and congestive heart failure. And so many of my patients say, I never have salt. I never eat salt. Well, read your labels. You're getting it through the cans, through the frozen foods. And when you go out to dinner, all bets are off.
Everything's on that. Or, the frozen foods are very, very high in sodium.
Anything prepared.
Yeah, anything prepared.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
a lot of us, say, oh, wouldn't it be easy to just go to the deli part of the grocery store, and they have a chicken and they have sides, but they're not being made like you're making it at home. There's salt and sugar galore.
Oh, absolutely.
But now they have to put the ingredients on the label. The sodium and all that on there. So read your labels. Learn how to read the labels.
And take a magnifying glass with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there are true vitamin deficiencies, and the one that jumps off the page is vitamin B12.
Yeah, we've talked about this in the past. This is a very important one that I think that people, they don't think about.
No.
At least I didn't. Now I do, big time.
And
it's worth repeating.
Yes.
it is worth repeating.
Yes.
Vitamin B12 is so crucial for the blood cells themselves. If you have B12 deficiency, you're anemic, or you can be anemic. Neuropathy, nerve damage from lack of B12, depression, and dementia. So it can contribute to all of these things. Some people, as we get older, they're unable to absorb the vitamin. So they can take a vitamin B12 pill every day of the week, but if they can't absorb it, then they need a shot. They need a B12 shot. And there's other B vitamins, and a lot of the vitamins, we're blocking them by taking a lot of antacids, anti-ulcer medicine, and a handful of other medicines, fiber supplements. You're not able to absorb the vitamins. For most of our patients, we usually say, please take an extra vitamin, because I can't guarantee that you're going to have 3 squares a day with all of the vitamins and absorb it properly.
That makes sense. Yeah. So what's the basic workup when someone comes in and say they're tired? Do you just do like a consultation with lifestyle and then go from there, or?
No, because we have to, since I'm a professional worrier, I have to worry about the bad things.
Yeah.
I'm the what if person. So we're going to listen very carefully. What are your symptoms? What medicines are you on? What supplements or over-the-counter things are you on? What's your other medical problems that can contribute? Then we do the basic lab workup, blood count for anemia, comprehensive metabolic panel for liver, kidneys, proteins, which proteins we didn't even touch on, but that's huge to keep our muscles healthy, especially if we're going to start exercising. We got to feed ourselves. We'll check thyroid. We'll check B12. We'll check vitamin D, which is crucial for immune system, especially against respiratory illnesses.
Yeah.
So we're going to check all those depending on the symptoms, and we'll also look at the history. If you had an EKG 2 weeks ago at your cardiologist, I'm not going to repeat it, but we might do that, a chest x-ray, specific targeted tests based on what your symptoms are, sleep apnea study if necessary.
You also look at their medications. We have a lot of people that are taking the over-the-counter sleep aids, and then also the allergies, allergy season right now is just crazy, and so they're taking the allergy medication. That stuff can make you sleepy.
Yes.
And they're taking the over-the-counter sleep aids too, and there's that groggy feeling that you may have of that.
That can last sometimes the whole day next day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they may be doubling up on it. So they're
Lord.
taking the sleep aid, plus they're taking their other medications, and then the next day they're taking their allergy medicine, and so they're living in this la-la land. And so that's the reason it may be the reason they're doing that. So she's looking at the medications too. And if it's doubling up or interfering with the medication,
Or maybe taking the wrong time of day. If they're taking medication in the morning that can make you groggy, that's probably not the best plan.
yeah. And then, and then we're also looking at talking to the family about, okay, are you keeping the windows closed? Is the pollen coming in? Could that be interfering with? There's a lot of things. So we don't just look at the person.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what you mentioned lifestyles. Okay, what else is going on? So yeah, there's a lot of things.
Yeah. So it's really just running the gamut to find the right answers to treat it properly instead of just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that it
The
sticks.
meatball doesn't hit
The
them.
meatball doesn't hit them. But I think it's important that if you are feeling tired to just not ignore it and just, powering through it and just, accepting the fact that you're just tired and that's life. That's, being a senior. It's just old age or whatever you want to call it.
It's just old age.
It doesn't have to be. Right?
Do you know how many folks that have walked through our doors and said, I'm tired, and somebody else told me, well, what do you expect?
You're old.
If you're
that's
old.
terrible.
Oh, yeah. We hear it. I hear it a lot because I
Yeah.
do all the intake in our office, and it is just, I just cringe when I hear it.
Yeah.
We have patients everywhere from in their hundreds down to in their 60s. And being old is not a reason. I mean, yeah, people that get older, their bodies are going to slow down and this sort of thing. But, we see on TV these people in their hundreds that are out here doing things that people in their 40s won't do.
Right.
Or won't
right.
try.
I
So
know my grandmother, my grandmother was, I think she was 99 when she passed away. She was like zooming her whole life. Her little hiney never sat down except maybe watch like that Wilkes guy. What was the dancing show? She would love that
Lawrence
show.
Welk.
Lawrence Welk. She loved that. But and hee haw. Probably that's about it. But at the end of the day, that woman, you couldn't keep her down. And she went and she went and she went until she just finally gave out. But she literally was just somebody that just age was not going to stop her from going and doing what she wanted to do. She was not having it. So no excuses.
yeah, you won't hear that from us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was a great episode, ladies. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we look forward to future episodes.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you.